Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, I just want to say one thing. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed so far. We just hit 3K and we are growing so quickly. So I just want to say a massive thank you. But we're going to get into it now because Arsene Wenger has been speaking on BeIN Sports and he has had some big words to say. He might be retired from football management, but his opinion still carries a lot of weight. And after the results last weekend, he was speaking with Richard Keys and Andy Gray on BeIN Sports about the potential prize for winning the Europa League. I'm going to be honest, I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with this, and let me know what you guys think in the comments because it is pretty controversial. And if you are new here, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the video. Let's get into it.
Overall, I believe as well the weaker teams were never as weak. I've never seen a team with 11 points at the end of the season. So it looks like the gulf between the top 8, 9 and really the bottom team is absolutely getting bigger every year. And what is a bit worrying is that you see the same teams going down and the same teams coming up. Yeah. That is a little bit the vicious circle of a parachute payment that allows this team to keep their players when to be stronger than the teams who fight desperately to come up. There's something.
So I just want to talk about that for a second because it is important to understand. And I think with the way football is going now, we have a new, obviously, European competition in the Conference League. And obviously, with the power that the Premier League has, there's a lot more teams going into Europe. So we're going to have 5, potentially 6 when Spurs and United win the Europa League, going into the Champions League next season. Then I think we're going to have 9 teams in total in European competitions next season. And what that does is it obviously increases the power of the Premier League in Europe, but it also increases the gap between the Premier League and the Championship. And that's why they're obviously talking about there. The gap between the Championship and the Premier League is so big now, and it's so difficult for the teams to stay up. So it is important to note that just before we go on to the next part.
Improve the competition. And I would say as well, with more teams now qualifying for the European games, the gulf inside the league will become even bigger.
Is that good, Arsene, more teams from the one league going into Europe?
I don't believe so, because it will make the difference between top teams in England and the rest of Europe even bigger.
Yeah.
The top teams in England and the rest of Europe, that's not anybody's concern. Like, more teams in Europe, it's based on how you perform. Like, we've seen this happen all the time in circles where teams in Spain have a really good run. Like, teams in Spain have usually had a better legacy or history in European competitions than the teams in England, even though England has had more money. So I don't believe that specific statement, but I think there is going to be a gulf in class between the Premier League and the Championship, which will increase because of this European competition consistency with the Premier League teams.
Because you would say, I think only a few teams now can compete with the Premier League teams in the Champions League. It can be Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and then financially already at the end, basically.
Is it right that we are about to watch a Europa League final between 2 English clubs? One's 15th,
14th and 15th.
14th and 15th. The prize will be a place in the Champions League. Is that right?
No.
It's not.
Well, it is right if you make the decision that it is right.
Well, yes,
but
the reward.
So this is where he's completely missing the mark. The prize for winning the Europa League is going to the Champions League. That's what makes the Premier League the Premier League. That is what makes the Europa League so interesting. And the reason Spurs and United have such big interest in the Europa League this season, considering their league form, is the fact that they're going to be able to go into the Champions League. Now, I do understand the fact that because they're 14th and 15th, that the fact that they're getting kind of a get out of jail free card in essence is annoying, or maybe isn't fair. But the fact of the matter is that they're in the competition. Realistically, if the fact was that they weren't good enough, they wouldn't be in the final. But they do have the quality. They're not showing it in the league, but they're showing it in the cup competitions. So sometimes that happens. It happens in the Champions League, where the team that is maybe not performing well in the league could do really well, like Liverpool when they when they won the Champions League in 2005, they finished 5th and then were able to get back into the Champions League because they won it. It's basically an essential thing that teams would look at when they go and try and win these competitions. And the Europa League is such a big part of that.
It seems far too great for
The
two.
logic, they should qualify automatically for the Europa League again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not necessarily for the Champions League, especially when you are in a league where you have already so many teams, 5 teams who qualify. So
there is an actual issue that UEFA have missed, and why these teams like Manchester United and Spurs are being able to push so far in the Europa League, even though they're playing so poorly in the Premier League. And that is the fact that the Champions League teams no longer have their, say, teams that didn't perform the best dropping back down into the Europa League and making it more competitive. They've had an easy enough ride to the semi-final, both teams, and the fact that those teams haven't dropped down means that the quality in the Europa League is lower. It does mean the teams maybe below Manchester United and Spurs have a better chance of winning the Europa League, but the fact of the matter is that those teams are still a little bit ahead of the others and will continue to push. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think if you win the Europa League that you should only get guaranteed to play in the Europa League next season, or should it stay as it is and you get to go into the Champions League? It obviously maybe does have a bit of a debate, but I think it has to be that you get to go on and play in the Champions League the following season. I think that's the only way it stays competitive. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I shall chat to you all in the next one.